Miso and Gray with you today, and we're starting a whole new video series on my book, Diary of an Angry Father. Apparently, it's become too hard to freaking read today because we don't teach our children to read, and, well, we're not teaching our parents to read either. A wonderfully helpful book. It tells you all the parenting secrets. There's some previews on Amazon.com and get it at any good bookseller. But it's called Diary of an Angry Father by me, Miso and Gray. Check it out. Pick one up for yourself. You could save your kid's life. Available Kindle, paperback, and Audible. You can even listen to it if you're too freaking lazy. This is an educational video, which we will put together over the next couple of weeks and eventually turn it into one full-scale documentary. But we figured we'd do it in little chunks because little chunks are easier to what? To digest. That's right. So today we're going to give you life secret number one. It's preparing for the real world. This is for your kids who are just coming into ninth grade, into high school, and don't realize, because a lot of parents don't tell them, that what you do from moment number one as you walk in high school as a high school freshman, everything you do from that point forward will affect the rest of your life. It's crazy. It doesn't make sense, but this is the way things work. Now, what most students fall into is the party trap, I call it. You can party for 8 years, 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, have some fun. I'm fat, let's party, yeah! But what you're doing is you're screwing up the rest of your life. And in these next few slides, I'm going to show you why. Because your option is you can work hard for 8 years, at 4 years of high school, and then 4 years of college, and you'd be amazed at the difference it will make in your overall life. It's insane, the difference it will make in terms of your income, in terms of your happiness, in terms of your place in society. Now, a lot of kids get tied up in the friends thing. It's peer pressure. It's social media. It's what do my friends think of me? I'm trying to be the cool kid. And so many kids fall into this trap. And it is such a huge waste of time. What you need to look at, or you need to convey to your kids, or if you are a student, you need to realize that it's you against everyone else in that class, against everyone else in that school, against everyone else in your town, your city, your state, your county, your zip code, your country. And I'll show you why. We're leading up to this thing. Society has fundamentally changed. So it's you against the world. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump, love him or hate him, his dad taught him well. He told Donald, that life is a war, that you will be fighting against everybody and everything in your life. And that was probably the only good advice that Donald Trump's father ever gave him. But that's the deal. It's you against the world. It's you versus them. It's you against everybody else in that classroom. So no matter who you think is your friend, you're probably wrong, and you may be going up against them for a job, the job of your dreams someday. So yes, you can be friends. Yes, you can have friends. Yes, you can go out and be social and have fun. But remember, when it comes down to it, it's you versus them. Just keep that in the back of your mind. And my kid tells me, he goes, well, this other kid, all the kids in class, they don't study either, man. They just get 70s. Well, you know what? That's cool for them. But the kid that's getting 80s, 90s, 100s and telling you he's not studying, he's lying. He's trying to look cool. He's probably home studying like a ninja. So don't you believe it, and you be the guy that's studying. You can admit it. You don't have to admit it, whatever, but do it and get it done. And there's a reason why. Now, your mind is young. It's developing when you're in your high school years, especially as a freshman. You're going to think, oh, these people are your friends. Oh, man, they're going to be with me for the rest of my life. Well, it couldn't be further from the truth. Very few people from high school end up hanging out together for their entire lives. And your friend circle will begin to dwindle, as you see here in these pretty awesome pictures here. You see, as a freshman, you got a whole bunch of people here, and then your sophomore, it dwindles. And by the senior year, you kind of shaking out who, and they might not even be your real friend there. It might just be your high school best friends. And after high school, you may never see that person again. But in a lot of cases, people move, people take career choices, they do different things, and those high school people, in most cases, probably won't be around as a significant part of your life for the rest of your life. So keep that in the back of your mind. You probably won't know who your real friends are until you're in your 20s, maybe even the 30s, until you get a job or get through college and develop that maturity and that judgment enough to know who's really good to be hanging out with, who's going to give as much as they put in, or as much as you put in. It's really it should be a 50-50 split. A good friend should be there during your darkest days, and you'll find that a lot of them won't be. Now, you can blame it on whoever you want. You can blame it on your parents. You can blame it on the teachers. You can blame it on society. You can blame it on the school system. But the future ultimately is your responsibility. If something's missing, it's up to you to make it up. And today, more than ever, with Khan Academy, with all these online courses and online help aids and tutors, and there's really no reason that you can't succeed if you want to. Now, the point is you have to want to. Just because you don't agree with someone or everything or a teacher or your school or your curriculum or whatever, you can't slack off and give up if you want to be successful. You need to ask for help or change something in your life. If you're studying with your TV on and social media on and the radio on, you need to cut out some of those things. You need to concentrate on these studies. And I know it's so incredible hard. Hey, I was an adolescent once too, and I hated school. Oh my God, I hated school. But I realized after talking to some people who weren't my parents that some of this really matters. I talked to some fellow students. I had a good friend in school who was a Jewish kid, and his parents would give him all these secrets, and he passed them on to me. He told me he wasn't supposed to, but he felt sorry for me coming from my my neglected Eastern European home with my immigrant parents, and he said, this is what you need to do. And I learned a lot from him, and I'm very thankful for that. But I'm passing this information on to you, and hopefully you will pass this on to everyone else. We should succeed. We should make our nation, our family, our world better because of what we can do for it and with it and in it. Now, a lot of parents are extremely misguided, including several people I've talked to personally. They're like, well, you know, I got C's in high school and I ended up okay. I made $80,000 a year. But you know what? This is a different world. There's no room for slackers, for people who don't work really hard and get really good grades. You know why? Because of outsourcing, automation, and artificial intelligence. These three things are replacing American jobs, and they're doing it. They're accelerating. It's happening faster and faster, and the technology is getting better, and that's accelerating too. So those slacker jobs you used to be able to fall back into and do all right, they're not going to be here. They're not here now. That's why unemployment's so high. And right around the corner, millions of truck drivers, one of the ultimate fallback jobs, warehouse people, office clerks, even soldiers in the military, computer programmers, they're going to be replaced by these technologies or outsourced. So these jobs will go away. Now, the good jobs will remain, the people who take care of these things, the people who invent these really cool things, but they're going to be saved for those straight A students, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's talk about these three things to start with outsourcing. Now, outsourcing used to be a very bad thing back when we had corporate responsibility, which we'll talk about in a few slides, but no one seems to care anymore. We've generated so many dumb and poor people in our country, in our world, that we don't care where our things come from. We don't hold our corporations accountable. If a company is sending stuff overseas and hiring people at $2 an hour instead of paying an American $20 an hour, which would be better for our taxes, would be better for our schools, it would be better for our communities, they don't care anymore because they realize that customers don't give a crap. All they want is the lowest price and a whole bunch of junk in their homes. That's what we've created, this material society. We want it as cheap as we can get it. So no one cares anymore. So companies are like, yeah, whatever, nobody cares. I'm going to send these jobs over to India. I don't care if my customer service can barely speak English. And looks like this, they can barely understand what they're saying in India. But they're paying them $2 an hour where they'd have to pay them $20 an hour, including salary and benefits here in the United States. So financially, economically, it makes sense. However, socially, it's a huge, huge problem. And it's creating fundamental challenges over here, which we're just beginning to see right now with these huge levels of debt and unemployment. And if you think your job is not outsourceable, well, a lot of people were very surprised, including supply chain management, even HR functions, accounting, tech support was an easy one, but customer support is insane. But content writing, sending it overseas to somebody who doesn't speak American English, is becoming more and more prominent, and that's really weird too. Even a lot of paralegals and lawyers are finding themselves with difficulty in finding a job because they're moving a lot of that stuff overseas, to Philippines, to India, to Pakistan, to now, it used to be China, but China, I hear, is now outsourcing to Africa. So there's a whole new continent we're going to start outsourcing things to because we're paying people in China and India too much money. So we're not done with this, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. Automation is the second threat, and that's been happening for years, where we've got machines to do things that people used to do. Where we had people put rivets in. That's what you did if you had a job in one of the big auto manufacturers. You would sit there. You were Rosie the Riveter, man. You would sit there for your entire career for 30 years making union wages, making $60, $70, $80,000 a year, and all you were responsible for doing is putting that damn rivet in that damn wheel well. Well, guess what? Machines are doing it for free. That's right. Well, not exactly free, but they're not charging union benefits. They're not expecting a salary. They don't take vacations. They don't quit. They don't get sick. And a lot of those jobs. And as the machinery becomes more and more dexterous, it will be able to do things that people can do, which will replace even more and more jobs. And again, the technology is accelerating. So you're seeing billing, accounting, cooking, manufacturing, all the obvious stuff, warehousing. Amazon's starting to use robots in their warehouses now. That's displacing a lot of picker jobs. I used to be a picker and for Sears, and there's no longer those opportunities. Again, those fallback jobs are starting to disappear due to automation, outsourcing, and AI, which we'll talk about in a minute. So even fast food will be affected within the next couple of years. You're going to start seeing robotic lines of robotic attendants at fast food restaurants because they don't call in sick. They don't ask for raises. All these reasons, they don't need benefits. They can work 24 hours a day without a shift change. It's continual as long as the robots don't break down. And soon we'll have robots that'll fix the broken robots. So you see how this circle is going to end up. It's going to become more and more enclosed, which is bad news for human workers and for slackers who don't do well in school. And there's studies saying that one of these robots, yeah, they're expensive, but a $100,000 robot, if you count 3 shifts a day for a 24-hour operation, and you include your salary, your benefits, lawsuits, insurance, that a $100,000 robot can pay for itself in less than a year. So it's a no-brainer. It's a big investment up front, but it's a big payout on the end. Now, artificial intelligence is the latest threat. We're seeing these in chatbots when you call your bank or when you type something in a customer service chat window on the internet. A lot of these things don't have humans on the other side until a specific point, until they really need them. And that point is moving further and further back because these robots and these artificial intelligence in computers can handle a lot of these situations that used to be handled by people. So those tech support jobs, those customer support jobs, all being replaced by one of these technologies. And that means less and less jobs for people who got C's in high school. Even people who got A's in high schools that are just running out of luck and can't find a decent job. You can see the job market dwindle and shrink. And even computer programmers, which apparently is the hottest thing in the world right now, you're going to see computers through AI that will be able to write better, more efficient, and not sloppy code like humans do. So even you coders are going to be replaced by artificial intelligence and automation. So it's sick. There's really nowhere to hide anymore. And the reasons for this is because corporations have changed. Back in the day, we used to hold corporations accountable. If you were an American company, you were expected to hire American people. You were expected to give back to your community. Otherwise, they would boycott your company. Well, that doesn't happen anymore because we're too poor. We've generated this economy, this society that doesn't have a lot of money. We're looking for the lowest cost stuff. We're looking for the Walmarts because we can't afford to hold out and expect everyone to pay American wages anymore. We're just not able to do that anymore. And the corporations themselves have really dropped the ball in terms of taking care of their communities and employees and customers. They now act as if their only responsibility is to their shareholders. Shareholder income, keep that price up so they can make more money on their stocks on paper, not even real money anymore. So this is what's going on. All these fundamental changes to society are creating this huge vacuum in jobs where the jobs are disappearing. So the jobs that remain, you're going to have to be pretty darn good. Unless, of course, you're a 1%er. You don't have to worry about it. If somebody's earning about $300,000 a year right now, even more, in states like New York and California, you have to be around $500,000 a year, and you've banked a bunch of that money, well, hey, you might be in good shape. And as a child or a student, you might be able to live off of that money for quite a while if your parents are getting a little bit older and they've got a significant life insurance policies and a bunch in the bank. So you might be able to be okay. The thing you have to be careful about is if a lot of those funds are tied up in mutual funds or stocks, and they pick the wrong stocks because financial advisors don't know everything, and the market is basically predictable, but there's a lot of things that can happen in terms of a crash. And all that wealth could be wiped out in a minute. But you need to realize that very few people are that lucky, less than 1 in 100. So if you take 5 of your classes in school, students, you're going to have maybe 20, 22 kids in the school. So one of those kids out of 5 of those classes is in those shoes right now. He's a 1%er. And it may even be less depending on where you are. It could be more in some wealthier communities. But it's a 1% shot that you have that much money. And really, to be truly wealthy, you need to be much more than that. They're talking about the 0.01%, the people who have millions or even billions of dollars to draw back on, who will never have to work. But most of us are not fortunate enough to be in that boat, and we're going to have to stick to the crumbs that they leave us. Now, the wealthy people, if you think you're going to ride their coattails, well, guess what? For years, it's not really a secret, but it's just something nobody talks about. It's the wealthy people look after their own, as in any other clique. So the CEO of a big company or a small company, he's going to more likely hire his friends and neighbors and people that he or she likes before they open up a job to the outside. They have to completely use up all their possibilities on the inside before they go to the outside. And you can see that if you're not in that inner circle, you're going to have a devil of a time. You're going to get the leftovers. You're going to get the crumbs, whatever they got. You're going to have a hard time getting into some of these new and exciting corporations because they're saving these jobs for people they like. So you need to be liked and you need to be connected. Now, this is how you can do it. You can try to get into a college that has a reputation, that has a lot of people who are willing to pull for you. A college that, depending on the color of your socks or your favorite football team, may have somebody in HR or in a management position who say, hey, I want Bobby to come in because he went to University of Florida, or he went to Clemson, or he went to Harvard. They're going to save a lot of those jobs for these schools. Another reason they do it too is because some of these schools, employers realize, are much more difficult to get in. So school essentially is a vetting process. It's a filter. If you worked your butt off in high school and you did everything you were supposed to do, you got great grades, great SAT scores, you did your extracurricular activities, you showed leadership, you will get admitted to a good college. And it's well worth it because, as you can see in this flow chart here, you can get into a better college that have kids with better connections. And then you can get a better jobs with those connections if you don't have them already. And ultimately, you'll be happier in work and you'll make more money. That's how it works. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And that will always be the biggest secret in the world. Although it's not, again, not really a secret, but that's what you need to know. Now, it all begins with high school, your first year of high school. It's your first life test. That's right. It's a filtering system. These employers, these people, they want to know that you are willing to work your butt off to do something, to sacrifice. They want to know that you're going to sacrifice the social times and the friendships and all that silliness. Again, you don't have to totally do it, but you need to put school first. Because think about it, as an owner of a company, you want some C student slacker who wants to party all the time, calls out sick, and doesn't give a crap about your company? Or do you want the diligent kid who busted his butt, who studied for every test and got straight A's and developed himself or herself as a leader? Well, the choice is obvious. You want the person who's going to work harder because that person's going to make more money or do better for your company. You see where I'm going here? So you really need to decide, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the successful billionaire, the businessman that can buy whatever he wants, doesn't have to worry about where his next meal's coming from or how he's going to pay his credit card bills? Or do you want to be the broke-ass cool dude that's everybody's friend? Hey, man, I'll hang out. You want to party and smoke some doobs? Yeah. Oh, I'm 30. I don't have a job, but, my food stamps are awesome. So you don't want to do that. You need to define that in 9th grade early on and get it started. Now, the road to college, as we said, begins your freshman year of high school. And your GPA is your number one qualifier. It's your grade point average. That's a cumulative average of all your grades in your core courses. Now, colleges will calculate these differently, and there's multipliers, and there's all kinds of stuff which we'll talk about in a little bit. But the freshman year grades count towards your overall high school GPA as much as the grades in your junior and senior year. So you need to take it dead seriously from the minute you step into high school. And remember, the person in control of your education and your future is you, not your teachers, friends, parents. And there's more than enough resources to help you get successful and become successful if you really want it. Now, good grades, they're your ticket into getting into great colleges and universities, which in turn, as we saw on the flow chart, gives you more career choices and opportunities. So You can slack off. You can be the guy on the left. Actually, the trash guy is probably not going to be there because that's going to be automated. Half of it's already automated. And by the time we get automated trucks, we've got the automated arms now. We won't even need a guy to drive these trucks anymore. It'll all be done by drone or remote control or just AI. But if you want the really cool jobs, I'm telling you, you've got to get good grades. It's all about that grades because those good grades will give you choices and opportunities. If you get a good education at a good college, a certain person I know wants to run game servers for a living. And yeah, you can make a few bucks doing that. We've seen some people make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. But there's a lot of threats. You need to do a SWOT analysis, SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we'll talk about that in a subsequent video. But what you want is options in case something happens to that game server thing, because there's a lot of threats. Is what I'm trying to explain to him. The company that runs the game may decide they want to take it all internally. They'll realize, hey, these people are making a buttload of money on these servers. So maybe I won't license them to outside people anymore. Maybe I want to keep all that money myself and have an AI bot take care of it for me, which is not unrealistic now. So you can do the game server. But then if you have a good education, you can also be an engineer, manager, programmer, robotics person, medical person, lawyer, and you're going to make a lot of money. If you just do this, the bare minimum, decide you're just going to do the game server and you just slack off in school and concentrate on your server, well, you're not going to have those opportunities if that threat shows itself. Well, now you've got a C average and you didn't go to the best college or college at all. And now you've got limited opportunities on the right side here. So what you want is both. You want to always diversify yourself. Make sure you've got choices. And that's really what it's all about. That's how successful people become successful. They've got opportunities and choices, and that's what you need to do for yourself. Now, you might think, oh, well, I get straight A's, man. I'll just take the regular courses all the way through high school. No, that's not going to work because good colleges want you to invest yourself in what they call a rigorous education. They want you to take the AP courses if they're available for your particular course or your major. They want you don't even have to take the AP test. As a matter of fact, they don't give a crap if you take the AP test and get the AP credit. A lot of colleges won't give you the AP because they want you to take that class at that school because they make money doing it and they feel they can teach it better. And also, a lot of colleges will say, yeah, well, you can come in here, but you still have to pay for these AP credits. Even though you took the AP course, now you have to pay for the AP credits, even though you don't have to take the course. So things are changing in that arena too, but the bottom line is if there's an AP course available for your particular class, just take it. And here's why. The AP courses not only show that you tried harder, that you're one of those people who wants to be a leader and not a follower, but they give you a bonus in your GPA. A lot of people, I didn't realize this. I had AP courses all through high school. I had no idea that when they calculated my class rank and GPA, there was a multiplier associated with the grade I got in the AP course. So I was just befuddled my senior year when this kid taught me, like, you get a little boost for taking this AP course. And I had no idea. My counselor was just throwing me in AP courses and assumed I knew this. But different schools and different colleges weight them differently, but you do get a bonus for taking that AP course. So if you got like a B and you got a 3.0 in that course, you took the harder course, they're going to bump that up and say, you know what, you took the AP course, it's harder, so I'm going to give you a 3.75. So there's a multiplier associated with those AP courses. So not only do you get the bonus for taking the AP, for having the will to take a harder course, you get a little bump in your GPA, and a lot of people don't know that. Let's talk about what colleges want. Now, the college admissions person, which also could be outsourced, automated, or replaced by AI in the near future, who knows? This is what they're looking at. They're looking at the courses you're taking. They want to know if you took the basic courses, did you take honors, did you take AP, and what grades did you get? And with all those multipliers, what is your class rank? How do you size up? Although that's not as important as it used to be. They want to know what your standardized test scores are in your ACT and SAT. And they're going to read your personal statements and essays. Yes, it does matter. They want to see if you can write, if you can think cohesively and logically. And also, they're going to want recommendations in some schools. They're going to want to know those teachers saw that you stood out, that you were different, that you were memorable and better and a leader. And also, they're going to want success in extracurricular activities, and some colleges even offer interviews, some smaller colleges that can handle that kind of stuff. We'll talk about why. But this is a study done, and I've cited all the sources at the end of this video with hyperlinks. And this is what colleges are looking for. And it shows the admissions factor by importance and by the level of importance, by considerable importance. You can see the grades in college prep courses, meaning your AP or honors courses, are the single most important thing that colleges weigh when determining if they're going to let your slack butt in. A lot of people say, well, I worked for this company all during high school. That's got to work for something. Well, you see on the bottom line here, work experience has very little to do with your chance of getting admitted into a college. Unless you've created this multi-million-dollar company and the college assumes you're going to give them some of those millions, which probably is not the case. Now, as you're going through high school, your teachers should respect you. They should remember you. They should be able to write a glowing recommendation for you because you did these things. You added to the classroom experience. You asked relevant and good questions. You made people think. You made yourself think. You challenged yourself. You took on a project that was way above your pay grade, but somehow you pulled it off or did the best you can. You didn't even have to succeed in it, but you tried. That's what they want to know. And you attempted some original projects. You attempted to add something to the classroom experience, and that's the important thing. So as you're sitting in the back trying to be cool, I'm not going to raise my hand because only cool kids don't raise their hands, man. You want to just remember that those friends in high school, you may never see you will never see most of those people again in a lot of cases. So screw what your high school peers think. Do the best you can because it does make a difference. Now, you're thinking about income. Of course, if you're a 1%er, you don't have to worry about this, but you can see is the more education you have, the better you're going to do in terms of lifetime earnings and your annual salary. So you could stop at high school, but you're only going to make $1.3 million. Although that sounds like a lot, we're only talking $30,000, $40,000 a year, which is not a lot. In some cases, you may be on the poverty rolls with just a high school diploma. So even just a little bit of college helps. With your associate's degree, you get a little bit of bump. But as you can see, your bachelor's degree, it almost doubles. And you get your master's, you get a little bit more. You get a doctoral, professional degree. You can see how it goes up and up. So you want to do as much as you can and go as far as you can in college. Now, your extracurricular activities, as we looked back on that chart, they don't matter a whole lot, but they do matter. And what a lot of colleges, especially the more selective ones, look for are leadership. So don't do a ton of extracurricular activities. I mean, you can try a bunch of them in your early years, in your freshman years, but just stick to a few of them and excel and become a leader in the ones that you decide are for you, that work best for you. Oh, and a little secret here, colleges love band kids. They recognize the discipline involved in marching band. And that gives you a little point there, but that's a secret. Don't tell anybody you know that. Now, the school you choose, as we talked about before, does matter in terms of career pay. And you can see some of the schools here. If you go to University of Central Florida, your mid-career pay is going to be about $70,000, almost $71,000. But if you go to this SUNY college or MIT, you're going to make double that. So the school you choose is held in high esteem in some cases by employers. And remember, it's who you know. If somebody else wears those pants, says, I like this guy, let's bring him in, but I'm not going to bring somebody in from Stanford, yuck, or Penn or Harvard. Ugh, I'm going to want somebody from MIT or FIT. So it really depends on the career you choose, and you can talk to your counselor about what would be the best college for your particular major or your interest. And then you can decide where to go and then look at these charts to see which school would give you the best income. But again, you're going to have to work your butt off to get there. There's an interesting study that showed 2011 college grads several years ago, but you can see if you party in college, and this is we're going to talk about college in a later video, but the people who partied in college more than studied are largely unemployed, underemployed, or just not making a whole lot of money. So these are these party kids who chose to party for 8 years, and they're just sucking wind on life. And 1 in 4 of those kids still lives at home or in some kind of other apartment or renting with friends. It tends to happen this way. If you're in college and you're a party kid, you tend to try to extend that even after college is done. And I know several people in Gainesville, Florida, at University of Florida, which once they graduate, they end up staying in Gainesville. They get a room with some of those people, and they just kind of hang out and party for another 4 or 5 years until they burn out and realize, oh crap, man, I'm ruining my life. So just not a great idea. The most important thing I can stress is that you only get one chance to do it right. Yes, you can redeem yourself. Yes, you can go back to school later when you get a little more mature, but your opportunities are going to dwindle because now you're going to be older. And the people sitting at the HR desks and the management desks are going to be like, wow, this guy is 26. Why are you just finishing college now? You should have finished at 21, 22, because apparently you screwed up before, and they're going to ding your chances on that. So one chance to do it right, to do it now. It all begins in 9th grade, your first year of high school. Take it dead seriously. Do the best you can. Get into the best college you can, and I guarantee your life will be better, happier, more fulfilling, and more successful. Miso and Gray, please like, subscribe, and if you have any thoughts on this, please help the world. Let's all help each other. Enter them in the comments below. Any secrets that you can share would be awesome. Miso and Gray, hey, make sure you pick up my book, Diary of an Angry Father. Widely available on Amazon.com as a Kindle, even a paperback. That's right. Or you can listen to it as an Audible person. If you haven't tried Audible, sign on. We get a little ding for that. And the more money we make from the book, the more help and the more videos we can produce to help you out and help you achieve the success that you want in your life. Thanks again for watching. Please, again, like and subscribe and pick up the book if you have an opportunity.